Top of the day to you. Hey guys, I wanted to jump on here because I just, a couple things. I've been meaning to talk about this. I just read an article by Dr. Michael Salla that I just retweeted on my Twitter, which is TheLightReports, no spaces. Strongly encourage you guys to go and read it after watching this vid. Look, and I was talking to my friend last night, and I was talking about what happened in Hawaii last weekend with the missile attack warning. And, I first asked them, I said, look, do you think that outstanding article, pity one. I asked them, do you think that some Hawaiian official could accidentally or unintentionally trigger such a warning? Because there has to be some sort of, sequence that you have to go through in order to trigger such a serious warning that could literally cost people their lives through panic and pandemonium and chaos. So, and they said, no, I don't believe somebody could do that accidentally. So I said, okay, so then we're at the point where we agree that it had to be done intentionally, deliberately. Therefore, what would be the motive for somebody to do this deliberately if it were a false alarm, if there were not actually an incoming missile, an inbound? And they couldn't think of any motive. I couldn't either, other than possibly to create fear and panic, like an act of terrorism. The only conclusion I can come to with this, and did at the time, was that there was an ICBM heading towards Hawaii. And if you'll recall, as Dr. Salla points out in his article, there was also a missile warning shortly thereafter in Japan. And I was unaware of this, but it makes all the sense in the world with the sort of money that the deep state factions of the CIA have access to, that they have actually their own Dark Fleet Navy. And he just kind of goes through, they refer to it as the Dark Fleet, not to be confused with Corey Goode's Dark Fleet, which is a space-based program. This is an actual, blue water ocean Navy, if you will, for the CIA, which includes ballistic submarines and actually includes, I guess, at least one aircraft carrier that they had primarily been using to launch spy planes from. So this is, and his article just walks through who could have done this, because, I thought, this missile didn't come from North Korea. I thought it came from a rogue submarine as well. That explanation made the most sense to me. But then I was like, okay, who do the Luciferian pedophiles control? What country, could that be? Some people had speculated Israel. But, I said Israel doesn't have missile boomers. And sure enough, Dr. Salla covers that in his article. Because very few nations have missile boomers. I think those are subs capable of launching ICBMs. That would be, I think, Russia, France, England, the United States, China. I don't know if there's anybody else in that list. So it makes all the sense in the world to me that this was a CIA missile boomer, because he goes through, it doesn't make any sense that the Chinese would launch this, or the Russians, or the British or the French. And it makes all the sense in the world that the deep state Luciferian pedophiles, who now know that they are desperate as can be, they know that the clock is ticking more rapidly every day, and that they are going to be revealed, and there are going to be serious consequences for their actions. They're that desperate, folks, to launch a missile at one of the 50 United States in an attempt, of course, to create a regional war. They wanted it to appear as if the missile was coming from North Korea, and Salla points that out as well, which I think anybody that's analyzed this knows that then what they were looking for was a full retaliatory strike from the United States and subsequent invasion of North Korea, which, of course, what's the greatest distraction that the Luciferian pedophile cabal can create? And that is a large war. So have a look at that article, guys, and just ask yourselves, and if you're talking to people this made a lot of sense to this person of just saying, hey, first try to get them to the point of saying, guys, yeah, and, the missiles were taken out by, I don't know who exactly, but there's very high-tech forces out there, a multitude of high-tech forces capable of doing that, that took that missile out. I mean, even U.S. Navy forces are capable of doing that with the anti-ballistic missile system. But yeah, if you're trying to walk someone down this path of the truth, I think this Hawaii alert thing is a good example of, get them to the point of agreeing that, hey, could this have been done accidentally? Could the warning have been sent out accidentally? And a logical person will say, no, I don't believe that could happen because of the sequence that has to be in place in order to trigger such an alert. Then ask them, okay, what could be the motive here? Also, guys, the mainstream media, of course, doesn't want to report on this, but yesterday, I think I might have mentioned this, but I want to mention it again, for about 8 hours at least, release the memo, hashtag release the memo was #1 trending on Twitter, and I know Twitter's like shadow banning me because I was tweeting like crazy with those hashtags, or that hashtag, along with some others. And so it was a very successful campaign yesterday. We now also have, what you can find on my Twitter feed, a document where 60-something congressmen have signed calling for the release of the memo, which is, again, a summary, I believe, a summary of the 1 million plus page report that the Inspector General Horowitz from the Department of Justice submitted to on Monday the 15th, the House Intelligence Committee. And the committee then turned around and wrote a 4-page memo and made that available to all the members of Congress. I'm actually shocked that it's not been leaked yet. And my understanding is Trump is sitting on this all weekend, letting these deep state piles of worthlessness cringe at the tidal wave that's going to be coming out on them when the American people see what's in this memo. Quick update on Heather Ann. You can go to i-uv.com and Randall Bean. And BZ posted latest document. I think they're going to begin jury selection, actually, January 29th. And if I'm reading the document correctly, Randall Bean at some point is going to be released soon because it was conditions of, being released. And, of course, Heather Ann's already been released under house arrest, so I would hope that Randall Bean is soon going to be released as well, and that's the nature of those terms of that are laid out in that document. So that's it, guys. That's the bizarre world we're living in when our own factions of our own Central Intelligence Agency, which I believe needs to be dissolved, which is why John F. Kennedy was murdered, because he was going to dissolve the CIA and the Federal Reserve, and that's why they assassinated him. But I believe what just has to happen is this needs to be exposed, and the CIA needs to be dissolved. We need to start over. There are good people within the CIA, and it is a compartmentalized agency, but it is so poisoned and infested with these Luciferian pedophiles who have an immense amount of power and access to resources that I think the best thing to do is just completely snuff it out. And I think also that in order to do that, that President Trump needs to send a Marine Expeditionary Force to Area 51 with the support of some other high-tech U.S. military assets. Anyways, guys, that's it. I'm sitting here waiting for somebody to leak this document. Again, I can't believe it hasn't been leaked yet. And I believe it is a great kind of precursor warm-up show, what will come out on this document, for the American people to realize what is actually going on within our government, which is a civil war, and to expose these deep state Luciferian pedophiles once and for all. It's a good warm-up show for that. Because a lot of people's heads are going to explode when they realize this treasonous coup plot that's been uncovered by the Inspector General, that I think a lot of us knew was there already, but that kind of verifies things when the Inspector General of the Department of Justice comes out with a 1,000,000-page report outlining these very specific details, because of course he's privy to information, power of subpoena, and that sort of thing that we aren't. So get your seatbelts on, guys. Things are, again, accelerating at an increasing rate. So keep focusing your thoughts and intentions, because we're making this happen. We are creating the positive outcome that humanity is going to experience and enjoy. And I love y'all. Thanks so much. Bye.